everything is a collaboration. Whether you're working with your doctor, whether you're working with a Pilates instructor, whether you're working with a business coach, whether you're with a lawyer, you can't just assume they know best. You know your body best. So you have got to advocate for yourself. And then you have to ask them, can you explain why this is at? Well, can you explain why we're doing this? Can you answer this? When they're in the room with you, they cannot leave until you're done. If they say, do you have any questions? And you ask questions, they can't walk away from you.
Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the Be It Till You See It interview recap, where my co-host in life, Brad, and I are going to dig into the solution-driven convo I had with Elle Russ in our last episode. If you haven't yet listened to that one, feel free to pause this now, go back and listen, and then come back and join us. Here's the thing about Elle Russ. You guys, I can barely keep her under an hour. She is going to teach you everything she knows about the topic. She's going to be fired up about it.
She is a strong
It's not
person.
even solution-driven. She is passionate.
Oh, yeah.
And
at one point, she was close to tears.
I know.
Talking about her clients.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. So if you haven't listened to our first episode on confidence, you should go listen to that. It's full of honesty. And then this one was on thyroid, because those are actually the two topics that she coaches on. And she's helped a lot of people on both places.
Yeah,
So,
she, interestingly enough, wrote a book about uninformed doctors.
yeah.
That is very famous.
Yeah.
So,
Huge.
yeah.
Anyways,
and
before we get into that,
yeah,
today
is Thursday, August 24th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it a special holiday?
Oh, it might be.
You didn't do it.
I totally didn't do it. It is Thursday, August 24th. And
Let's see what the first thing is to come up.
All right, 24th. Let's go to the 24th. We're looking at International Strange Music Day. Or, hold on, my computer keeps
Kobe
overrunning.
Bryant Day. He died on my birthday.
National Cuban Sandwich Day. It's National Coconut Week.
A whole week for coconuts?
A whole week for coconuts.
Oh my God. Today was the day Pluto was demoted.
Demoted. Oh, it's no longer a planet.
Yeah. But you know what? In astrology, that's not true. So I think the scientists got it wrong.
It's National Ride the Wind Day.
And then shout out, because it is Ukrainian Independence Day. And at this time, they're still fighting for it. So anyways, wow.
It's also International Day for the Remembrance of the Slave Trade and its abolition.
Oh,
That,
wow.
I think, is a pretty important one.
think that's an important one. Where are you seeing that? That's not on mine.
August 24th. Nationaltoday.com, y'all.
I'm looking at it.
In case you're wondering.
I just didn't see that one. Well, I'm glad we brought it up. That's great. So we had a lot of holidays today. Today's a big day in the whole world.
It's a big day.
We didn't even talk about how it's National Danny Day, which is like so strange.
It's a day for Dannies.
Anyways, well, you tell us which day you're celebrating today. We'd love to hear it. Also, we just got back from our West Coast tour.
Holy cow, what a ride.
Oh my
y'all.
God. Bigger than, honestly, like bigger than ever, bigger than anything. Thank God.
3,000 miles, 12 cities.
I thought it was 4,000 miles.
No, just over 3. 12 cities, 24
classes and
classes and workshops, and
hundreds of
25
people, hundreds of people,
tons of decks, lots of dogs.
Big thanks to our big headlining sponsor, Balance Body. We could not have made this tour as big without you.
Yeah.
You probably saw our tour van. If you are living in the state of California, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, or Utah, and you saw what looks like the funnest van in the world, hi, that was us.
Yeah. And if you're wondering what we're talking about, just go to Lesley's Instagram account.
Yeah.
At Lesley.Logan, and you'll see lots of pictures and video of it.
Yeah, so we're back.
It was awesome.
I'm so excited. I mean, we're already in our bed. We sleep in the van. It's our bed, but we have a different bed at home, and it's bigger. And I'm So excited for that. I'm
Yeah.
also like, I do cold showers in the morning when I'm at home, and I could not do them on the tour. So I'm just grateful for my cold showers to wake me up, and the wonderful normal dog walks that we do. It's just kind of nice when you know all the areas
It's
that
good
you're
to be
doing.
in a routine.
Yeah, but we love the tour. We'll be back out on tour soon. In fact, I'm actually leaving in a few days to go to Poland.
What?
I'm going to be at the Contrology conference in Poland.
That's right.
So that's really exciting. And then when I come back from that, we're actually doing agency mini number 9, which is our coaching group 7-day program. You can actually sign up for it right now at profitableapplies.com/mini. That's profitableapplies.com/MINI. This is like a not to miss, you guys. We only run it twice a year. We are tempted to only run it once a year. We don't know when that's going to happen, but I'm threatening you because it's something that's on our mind. We like to be transparent. We like to be honest.
Yeah.
And it is the last time running it this year. We probably won't run it again until February, I think.
February, March.
Yeah.
It's not really figured out yet.
Yep. So
Roughly 6 months.
Yep. So you want to do that if you are wanting to get any questions answered around your business, around your service-based business, whether you're going online or brick and mortar. Y'all, we help people make the money that they want to make. And it's not like we're all about whatever, like just making millions of dollars. We help you make the money you want to make. And one of my favorite things I got in a DM from one of our agency members who's been with us 4 years. She sent me a DM after Bayonne was attacked. And she just said, I just wanted to reach out to you because I know you're going through a lot. I want to let you know that it's because of you that I can provide for my family. I can take vacations when I want to take them with my family, and I can do that without worrying about my business. And
Wow.
I'm making the money I want to make. So that's because she did a mini and she trusted us. She's been with us 4 years, and she's wanted to have a home studio that would allow her to provide for her family and not work when they were off. So we did
That's
that
amazing.
for her, which is amazing. Okay. Then
Well, and here's the deal.
what's the deal?
The deal is that this one is going to be one of our coolest ones yet. Each time we make each time we run mini, we have a recap afterwards, and we just figure out like how can we make it even better. And this time we're doing some really cool stuff. And so actually, you can literally sign up today. So
Yeah.
do
you
it.
can.
Go to profitablepilates.com/mini.
Yeah. And then after mini is over, we hang out with our new members and our old members, and we have a lot of fun. And then we go to Cambodia.
Yeah.
And this is so exciting. We're actually going to be in Cambodia for a while because we have our retreat. And then we have someone renting out our space to run their retreat. So
Yes.
that is the coolest.
Yeah. So, the dream when we decided to get our own place, there in 2018, was that someday it would just be a full-time retreat space. And obviously we're not taking retreats every week, but we could open that place up and offer our program and let other people fill in the blanks with their teaching. And we're doing that finally. So this is a dream come true for us. We've been talking about this for a very long time. And basically, I'm just excited that it's beginning.
Yeah.
If you've ever wanted to run a retreat and you're trying to figure out where and how and all the logistics and all the complications, that's exactly what we've figured out. So just reach out to us and we can have a conversation. Maybe we can figure out how you could take your group to an amazing place that is fun, safe, beautiful. Just like it's a bucket list for everyone that I've ever talked to. Everyone goes, holy cow, I'd love to go there. And, that's why we picked that spot. So, anyway, if you're in Southeast Asia, it's like a month away at this point, or I guess it's the end of August. So, we're going the beginning of October for our group. And, you could still join us. There's still some room. Otherwise, get yourself on the wait list and we'll tell you about next year's retreat.
Yeah. And then we come back, and then I go to Chicago, and I'm teaching at a Club Plaza in Chicago with Erica Quest. At this point,
That's in November.
That's in November.
Yeah.
At this point, you just have to DM me if that's what you're interested in, because we don't actually have anything up at the time that this is dropping. But it will be space that's limited because we can only have so many people per workshop. And it's my first time teaching in Chicago in a year, but also my first time teaching in a Chicago studio, not on a conference, in like 5 years. So this is so excited.
Yeah.
And then December, go on the winter tour. So everything we just did, we're doing it again in the winter. And because Balanced Body is our sponsor, you can best believe it's going to be fucking huge.
Yeah, it's going to be a little more spread out just because it's like probably 5,000 to 6,000 miles instead of 3. We're going to be doing the loop, as y'all know. So
Mhm.
anyway.
And actually, because our audience question has to do with the winter tour, we can dive into it.
Yeah, let's just do that.
I have been getting a ton of DMs, and really this question is because I don't know how to answer it. So the questions I've been getting is people putting in the DMs, their city, and then asking how to get their city on the winter tour or on any tour. And so we have lots of people in Florida, which y'all, you have to understand what that means. You're asking us to do. You're asking us to go from Philly, drive into Florida. You know how long Florida is? So long. We've done it before, but I'm not saying we won't do it. I'm just saying it's a lot. And so what should people do, babe, if they want their city on a tour? Well, and I shouldn't say the winter tour because you could be on the winter tour, but you could be on next year's summer tour. So where should people submit their city for a tour stop?
Yeah, I just wanted to say it's a 17-hour drive from Philly to Miami.
Yeah, we've done it.
I know.
I remember. I experienced it.
So here's what you do. We have an amazing team who has figured out a whole conversation that has been repeated a few times here. So if you're interested in being a host, you could be in Canada, you could be in the United States. We're figuring out these what this could look like in the future. Hell, maybe even Mexico. I don't know.
Oh my God.
How cool would that be?
Well, I might have to talk about that. Yes, I would love to.
Anyway, if you have a studio and you're interested in hosting, just chat to us. Go to opc.me/chat and we will start the conversation with you and figure out, what makes sense when. It might not be now. It could be next year. It could be, whatever. I don't know. We haven't figured it out yet, but we are just taking note. If you're wanting us to
and you
stop
should
by.
do it now because we actually are going to pick our winter tour cities in September.
Yeah,
because we'll be in Cambodia in October. So put those in and also just know that you will be the host and you'll be promoting it and we will be helping you. So as much as we want to come to your space, if you also don't like to fill things, then maybe submit someone else's space that you'll go to. I'm just being honest. But it's just gonna be a fuck ton of fun. So
it's gonna be amazing.
I know.
Okay, now let's talk about Elle Russ, best-selling author and renowned authority in thyroid health, who's transformed her personal health struggles into a decade-long mission to support and educate others around the world. We are so excited to have brought Elle Russ back to the pod to talk about thyroid health, something that she's incredibly passionate about.
Yeah, she is. And when I first invited her on the podcast, I thought we could talk about both confidence and thyroid health, but no, we could not. No. And so I'm glad we did 2 separate episodes. And I'm actually having a lot of fun because at this point in episode 254, we keep bringing different people back because there's more conversations to have with some of those people. And I love it because I can get deeper into it. Anyways, that was just a side story. Okay. I actually really love that she talked about how thyroid issues are fixable and solvable because I have met many people on my journey in life. And I even had a doctor who was worried about my thyroid and they made it seem like that was not a death sentence. That's so dramatic, but it's a period. Done. It's a statue.
It's congratulations, you have it, and now you have to deal with it forever.
Yeah, and I really loved that she has been on this mission, and she talked about that it's achievable for every single person's thyroid problem to solve this issue. And I think that's really amazing. I wish more doctors knew about that. And she said that there's 2 reasons you are suffering. You're either dealing with an uninformed doctor who doesn't know how to test that yet, or you're uninformed and you don't know about your disease. And I think both of those can come off really strong. But what I do know, even as a Pilates teacher who teaches Pilates, just even though I'm just teaching Pilates, there are uninformed teachers out there and there are people who are uninformed about the movement and capabilities of their bodies. It's the same thing in this situation. And so what we have tried to do on this podcast is bring different people on who talk and advocate about it. They promote how you should advocate for yourself. And I think in part of being it till we see it is not just pushing and procrastinating our health issues because they keep us from showing up as our best versions of ourselves, and also advocating for a doctor who listens to us. And those 2 things, you could actually have both of these things. You could be uninformed and be with a doctor who's uninformed.
Yeah, I had another comment. I grew up with a dog who had thyroid problems, and we had to give him medicine for every day for the rest of his life. From the age of 6, I just thought that once you had a thyroid problem, you always had a thyroid problem. That was it. And then my mom, she always had like low iron stuff. And then later in life, she has hypo and hyperthyroidism.
She has both?
She has both. And
how is that even possible? That's so crazy.
I couldn't tell you. I don't really understand it. And I think that's exactly the problem, right? And from my perspective, then my mom is just going to have something, she's going to have to deal with this for the rest of her life. And so it's kind of amazing that, you know, she's suggesting that these are solvable problems.
Yeah. And I obviously, like, if you don't have a thyroid anymore, of course you have something to deal with for the rest of your life. But if you have one.
Yeah, it can be surgically removed. Yeah.
And if you have one and you are struggling to keep things the way that makes you feel like the best version of yourself, what we're suggesting is that you go and get second opinions, get some help, find people who are specialists in this, who actually believe that there's another possibility. And I think that's really important. Like, we didn't talk about this on Elle Russ podcast, but I remember many, many years ago, I was going through my own health stuff, listening to a couple different doctors. And one was like the plant paradox. He wrote this book. He's a doctor. And he used food to heal people's heart conditions and things like that. And then the other one is undoctored. And he wrote, I think he wrote brain grain. Anyways, probably grain brain. And he also wrote the book Undoctored. And he is a doctor who is like, he actually, the way I understand his story is like, he was diagnosed with diabetes. And he's like, that's so crazy. I'm like eating what the medical school taught me was like nutrition, and there are 15 hours of nutrition that they taught me, and he got diabetes. And so he actually did some work and he reversed his diabetes diagnosis. And the doctor's response was, oh, maybe it was a misdiagnosis. The doctor wasn't curious as to how he did it. And so, you know,
I think he wrote wheat belly.
Wheat belly.
Yeah.
Sure. Super close. Grain.
Super gut, wheat belly.
Yeah.
Undoctored.
Yes.
Rich food, poor food.
Yes.
Nice.
So what is interesting about that situation is there in life, people, there are people in every profession who just like, this is it. This is the way things are. That's how it goes. And then there are people who are like, hold on, why is it like that? And there's curiosity. And something I like to teach the people who study with me is like to be curious. And I want to be with doctors who are curious.
Yeah, I had mixed emotions listening to this, you know, because I guess culturally and just in my own life, we've been raised to trust our doctors. The doctor says a thing, then we do the thing, you know. And however, having gone through college with a guy who was studying medicine, and just kind of seeing it from that perspective, it made me realize that it's sometimes a process of elimination. It's sometimes like it's almost like its own art form, but you have to be incredibly informed to be able to, you know, diagnose. And certain people focus on different things, right? So there's just so fucking much that a doctor could learn about, that if you go to someone who didn't really dig into whatever it is that you need to talk to them about, they may not be the correct person. And so they might just not know, right? And I think that when you look at it that way, you'll go find a doctor who specializes in the thing so that you can talk to someone who is the most informed about it.
And I just want to say this other thing, because I know that it can sound like I get a little harsh about doctors, and it also can sound like Elle gets a little harsh about doctors.
Yeah.
I just heard an incredible podcast on the New York Times. It was a Sunday read podcast, and it was about like dirty jobs. And like, is it called Dirty Jobs? Anyways, it was about, somebody had a segment where they would like talk about these like dangerous jobs that like people were dying to do them. And he was doing like obviously coal miners and like all these different things that like probably most people listening to this would not sign up for. And someone reached out and said, hey, I know this is going to sound crazy, but you should probably do a whole thing on doctors. And the author was like, are you kidding? Who cares about them? They make a ton of money. They're like, like all this stuff. And he's like, no, I think that if you do some research, you're going to find this out. And the reality is that because of the way especially in the US, so this is going to be, if you're a listener in a different country, you might have a whole different experience when it comes to thyroid and medical stuff. And I would love to hear about that. But especially in the US, because hospitals are for profit, because insurance is for profit and everybody is going over the bottom line. Doctors they can spend 7 minutes with you. So it's not even that they're uninformed.
Yeah.
They might be just purely have no time. And then they have all this pressure if you're in a hospital to do certain things in certain amounts of time. And everybody is stressed out. And really what's happening in the medical industry is like actually a lot of doctors have a high suicide rate.
Yeah.
A lot of them have really high amounts of depression, which, you would not think about these things. So listen to that podcast because it gave me a little bit more of a perspective. Like, holy fuck, they might be doing the best they can and it's never going to be good enough because the actual system doesn't allow them to have the time for it to be good enough. So a lot of doctors switch into taking no insurance and being paid cash.
Yeah.
But that's even exhausting because you have to find people who can afford that. So it's just like that doesn't make you feel happy. So I think it's like we're in this system where everybody is in a thing. And I just want to remind you, it is called a medical practice. And I think that even the medical world has forgotten that. It is called a medical practice. They are a doctor practicing medicine, just like you practice Pilates. No one is ever going, I just want to put that word in there.
Finished.
They're not finished. So
and they shouldn't be finished. And I think that's one of the things that bringing this back to Elle, she was talking about curiosity, and you just mentioned finding a doctor who is constantly staying informed, because of the lack of time, because of the situations that they're in, it's really important that you and your doctor are both really digging into your specific, what is happening in your body. And I think, just one more comment on this, and I think we can move on. From my perspective, having been around you, Lesley, and seeing
how amazing I am.
Yes, the amazingness that you are and your beautiful hair. When you went to see some of the best doctors in the UCLA system and they were like, I don't fucking know what's wrong with you. That was shocking to me. Like, what do you mean you don't know what's wrong with her? How is that even possible? And they were like, maybe you have AIDS, and they sent you to a fucking weird ward. I mean, it was crazy. And
you know what that doctor said to me?
Why are you here?
She asked me, she said, I have 2 questions for you. Do you know why your doctor sent you here? And are you happy with that service? She had a moment where she is a human being and she's like, I don't know why this patient is here. And she asked me those things, which is so crazy to me. And I said, I am not happy with my service. I don't know why I'm here. And she said, there's nothing wrong with you that I can help you with.
Right.
And that's when I went to Chris Talley, who's not even a doctor. And he figured out what was wrong with me.
No, I think
is he a doctor?
Yeah,
he's a doctor.
He's definitely a doctor.
Sorry, Chris.
But anyway, the point is that, I think you shared in the interview, you actually shared about your experience when we moved to Vegas about a woman who just wrote off the things that you were asking her to do and didn't acknowledge anything that you were discussing with her. And that sucks. And that's ridiculous. And if you end up finding yourself in a situation like that, this is where you can advocate for yourself. You need to advocate for yourself and find a different doctor. Find someone who will listen to you, who can understand the situation, and then, work with you on the thing, because it's a puzzle.
I mean, I think you're like leading into your own favorite parts here, because it is a puzzle and you have to advocate for yourself.
And in order for you to do that, just to finish up your point, you have to understand it yourself too, right? So I think that if you've been diagnosed with hyper or hypo or whatever thyroid, I don't even know all the things. It's important that you dig in yourself, right? And that's one thing that's so cool is the reason that Elle Russ is so passionate is because she suffered for years and she felt herself change from like intense athlete to bumping into shit. And she's like, what is happening to me? And then she just wasn't satisfied with the diagnosis she got. She's like, what? This doesn't make sense. And that sent her down this path. Right. And now today she's decided this is her mission, is to really help people educate themselves. So she has this really nice course that you can go in the show notes and check it out. Mm-hmm. But moving into the thing that I love that she said is that it is super important for you as a patient to be proactive about your health, especially in advocating for correct tests. Okay. Now, this is really interesting to me because I don't know this. I don't know anything about these specific tests, but Elle listed these 6 tests if you are suffering with thyroid issues. She said it says TSH, a free T3, a free T4, a reverse T3. Those are the main 4. And then there was one called a TPO antibody, and then a TG antibody. And the balance of the conversation after that was about the struggle to actually get the doctors to run these tests because they, what Elle has experienced with her clients is that they go in, they ask for these tests, and the doctors say, I'm going to run the tests, and then the results come back, and they didn't fucking run the tests.
Well, because they ran just like a one test, or they run a combined, they don't run them separately. And I actually sent her my most recent blood results because I didn't have all these tests run. I wasn't really worried about a thyroid thing, but I sent her what I had. And then I had another person look at them, plus my own doctor who I love and trust. And all of them agreed upon the same thing. So like everything is good with my thyroid. But that's what second opinions are for.
Yeah. So it's important to get a second opinion. And also she even said something that was kind of off the cuff and it wasn't really discussed. She said, if you're familiar with what a phlebotomist is the person drawing your blood. So she actually said, ask your doctor for these things. And she clearly has a distrust for doctors. So she said, then before the phlebotomist even sticks the needle in your arm, ask him if these tests are available to be run on your blood from this place. And if they say no, then don't even get your blood drawn. And I thought, that's interesting, right? Because the phlebotomist is probably more junior. They're newer to the team. They, and whatever. So they also will be able to give you a lot more of their time, to be honest.
Yeah.
Typically.
When we worked with Chris Talley, the phlebotomist came to my house.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was really interesting. And she said that sometimes the doctors just think that you're, an ignoramus and they're like, I know better and I'm not going to run the test you just asked me to do. She talked about other times where they actually put it down, but then it just doesn't happen.
And here's the thing, like, remember going back to the doctor who I asked these tests for, and she was like, just like blew me off. I was like, hormones change throughout the day. So it's not even going to matter. Like, it's not going to give us anything. Well, my doctor ran my hormones. And then she asked me, what part of your cycle were you on when this was run? And I could tell her what day of my cycle I was on. And she could look at the test, knowing what part of my cycle I was on, and go and say, okay, these numbers make sense based on that. There are doctors out there who can do this.
Yeah.
It just requires, and it's exhausting because we have so much to do. And I know, because I had like a member in agency who like was hoping the lawyer would just do the thing. And she's like, I don't know. It's like, everything is a collaboration. Whether you're working with your doctor, whether you're working with a Pilates instructor, whether you're working with a business coach, whether you're working with a lawyer, you can't just assume they know best. You know your body best. So you have got to advocate for yourself. And then you have to ask them, can you explain why this is that? Well, can you explain why we're doing this? Can you answer this? When they're in the room with you, they cannot leave until you're done. If they say, do you have any questions? And you ask questions, they can't walk away from you.
Right.
So it is okay. And ladies, especially all of you, you must be okay asking those questions. Because I know I'm not. I know I'm like, oh, I don't want to take up the time. I don't want to waste their time. Like, I don't want to, I don't want to be rude. No, it's your fucking body. It's your fucking life.
I ask all the questions.
Brad does.
This fucking guy.
Yeah, he does. He's in there for half an hour. Anyways, be like Brad.
Yeah. All right. Be like Brad. All right. Finally, let's talk about those beit action items. What bold, executable, intrinsic, or targeted action items can we take away from your convo with Elle Russ? She said, spread the word. When you heal from something like she has, or you gain some knowledge about something that's impacted you, it's important to actually talk about it and share that with other people. Mm-hmm. Help someone who's suffering with that same thing. And obviously you're not, a doctor or someone who has spent years studying the thing, and that's okay. So do your best, point them in the right direction. She said you don't have to coach everyone, but you can help people out.
August agrees. That was that shake in the background.
August agrees. What about you?
She said perseverance pays, and I couldn't agree more. It means never give up. If there is something wrong with your health, you do not stop until you have felt you have a satisfied answer. And unfortunately, some things take us years to even understand that it's going wrong.
I mean,
some things
your road has been more than 10 years now, you know?
Yep. And I mean, at least I'm not in pain every day. And at least I'm not forgetting things anymore. And I'm not walking into walls. And, but so that's amazing.
And
but
you're
like
sleeping.
I am sleeping. I actually sleep more than, I sleep 6 hours a day. I'm trying to get up to 7.5 without waking up in the middle of it. We're working on it. We got to 6 though. So that's great. But it's whatever led you here probably didn't happen overnight. It's probably years of in the making. And so you have to also understand that the fix is probably not gonna be overnight.
Right.
But you should feel like your people on your team are listening to you. And so you keep going until you find people on your team who will listen to you. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to the people who are in your life. You owe it to your family. I don't care if you have no kids and no partner. You owe it to all those people who love you because you are the only person who can do what you do the way you do it. So anyways, that's her being action that I love, and I couldn't agree more. I'm Lesley Logan.
And I'm Brad Crowell.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I really hope this helps you. I know this is like, sometimes people think we only talk about goals here. Nope, sometimes we talk about health. Sometimes we talk about a specific part of our health. And it's because I really believe that being it till you see it is the best way to do anything in this life. And you cannot do that if your health is not up to par. If your health can't get you there. So let us know how this helped. Send it to a friend. And until next time, be it till you see it.
Bye for now.
That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Be It Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day.
Be It Till You See It is a production of the Bloom Podcast Network.
It's written, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell.
It is produced and edited by the epic team at Disenyo.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Cioffi.
Special thanks to Melissa Solomon for creating our visuals and Samena Velazquez for our transcriptions.
Also to Angelina Herrico for adding all the content to our website, and finally to Meredith Crowell for keeping us all on point and on time.